The Cutter's Rule podcast is sponsored by Courtside Rehab and Training. Courtside Rehab and Training owner Dean Thompson works one on one with each of his clients. He specializes in physical rehab and performance for racket sport athletes dealing with a recent injury, surgery, or chronic pain. Dean offers both in person and digital solutions for rehab and performance. To book a free consult call, visit courtsiderehabandtraining.com or hit the link on the Courtside Rehab and Training Instagram profile.
Gentlemen, let's get down to business.
Can you dig it?
You dig it?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Yeah, I can dig it, yeah.
If paddle had a lab, if strategy had a syllabus, if unpredictability had office hours, he'd be tenured. The paddle never stops moving in his hands, twirling, flipping, spinning, like it's part weapon, part wand. He invents shots mid-rally like he's defending a doctoral thesis in chaos theory. Class is in session with Matt Muoio, also known as the Professor. Welcome, Matt.
Well, thanks for having me. That's some intro.
Who coined the name for you?
JC, agronomic director, Kato. We actually played some tournaments together and ran nationals one year. And he would kind of poke fun of the fact that I kind of overanalyze when I get off court and like maybe too in depth. Because when we played together, I was like 3, 4 years into paddle, something like that, 4 years. So I was really overanalyzing, trying to like limit test and think like what's good and what's bad and like how I can like, you know, hurt my opponent in like different ways. So it was kind of all him and it just kind of caught on. I think due to the glasses and just the professor-ish look.
And talk about that process. Like, is it watching tape and film? Is it, counting errors in mid-match? What does that look like for you?
It's probably not as analytical as, the nickname alludes to, but I think there's a difference between like good errors and bad errors, and as you progress in your paddle career, the good errors get probably more, than the bad errors hopefully get less. Um, and I do watch some film, but again, like I do remember the bad errors way more than the good errors, which I want to eliminate the bad errors and obviously the good errors too, but more importantly, eliminating the bad errors because that's just like either just a bad shot selection, which is, way more punishing at high level. The margins are so small that like just eliminate like having like 1 to 2 bad errors a set is like manageable, but anything more is like you're just giving that crucial game away. And these matches are coming down to points, but I'll watch film and I kind of skip ahead because it's really long. It's just honestly paddle is just really long. So I'll skip ahead to like who won or lost the point and how like whose paddle it ended on and like in what way. And then I kind of continue that way just so like you can get through matches. Um, but a little bit of kind of everything. But generally, I kind of like reflect on matches and how they progressed. Um, Sometimes, like, just if I'm in a lull state in like the shower or something, I'll just like literally like think about how the match progressed and what I could have, just done differently or uh, how I was feeling in the moment. And did I just get tight due to, the score line or the pressure, or did I just like get too loose due to like that? It just like there's so many like dynamics in paddle that it's good to like just kind of relive the moments when you're off court, right?
Yeah, I think too, just touching on you're saying good errors versus bad errors. I think for me, a good error is, more like a physical mistake, right? If you miss a volley that you're going to make 99 out of 100 times, whereas you have bad errors if you're, driving from the, back of the cage and they're in good position and end the point volley. So is that kind of how you view it? Also, like, physical errors are going to happen. You're not going to be perfect, but if you're doing the right thing in the right place, it's, not a big problem but a mental error is, a bigger mistake and something you need to actually fix and cut out.
Yeah, 100%. Like feeling the pressure of the opponent, like like Alvi and Jose, they do such a good job of like not making errors. So like when someone doesn't make as many errors, your margins get thinner, then maybe that shot selection gets a little worse on baseline because you're trying to like just force the issue or something like that. When to your point, like yeah, back of the cage and there's no space, right? Because there's a time and place you want to drive from the back, but if you drive from the back and there's no space and you miss, it's like that triple box of negative is like that's what hurts, you know? If one of those boxes isn't checked, maybe there is space and you just miss in the back, like it kind of is what it is. But yeah, you're right. Like just I think the opponents kind of just apply that pressure on you just because of just their inevitability that they just don't go away, right? They're just making every ball.
So for a club player like me that's a 42 PTI, what you're saying is, so like Alvy and Jose are super tight at the net in the middle, and you're trying to drive it by them, and instead of waiting till one of them's off the net, is that what you're talking about when you talk about space?
Well, I'm talking them specifically because they just give no that's just a different they just give no errors where you just feel like you just kind of have to do more or you're just going to be out there for, 2.5, 3 hours. Um, but yeah, it's even worse when like, you're not balanced, you're in the backcourt and there's no space. At least if like there was a little bit of space and you're not balanced, you miss, it's like at least there was space between them and the net, you know? You can rationalize like, oh, it's not that bad of an error, but like if your opponent's established a net and you miss the drive and the ball's a little deep, it's like all those like that's what makes it a bad error when like every box is checked that you shouldn't pull the trigger or do your shot selection and you miss, right? Like that's what hurts even more, right?
What about game strategy? Do you go over that? Is that kind of post match like, hey, we should have whatever, done something differently at, halfway through the second set to give them a different look or whatever? Are you grinding that before and after the match as well?
Yeah, like you're just thinking more about like the patterns that you're stuck in because yeah, like the just like especially like on tour, the paddle's so long and it's almost like a choreographic dance, right? You play against the same opponent, so like you have that muscle memory and you just get stuck in certain patterns and some are winning and most of the patterns you get stuck in, right, is because you're losing those patterns. So it's like what patterns were we stuck in the moment? And then you think afterwards like how can we break those patterns for like next time? Um, and the goal is to get your opponent in the patterns that you are favorable in, right? But it doesn't always happen that way, right? And it's their job to make the patterns favorable for them, right? And I think on the court, you kind of know as you're in the match, like these patterns are bad. Like, how can we break these patterns without creating more worse patterns? Like, and that's just the chess of paddle, right?
And I don't want to dive too deep into speed of play or length of matches, but you did mention 3 hours. Like you look like you're having a blast on the court, but and focus, but does that bother you? Like knowing that you're going to face a certain opponent and it could be a 4 hour match? Are you like, that's not how long I want to be here for? Is that what's your approach on that?
I think I don't think of it going into it. Quite honestly, like before tournaments, I'm just like a day before, I'm just like, do I want to play this tournament right now because of the grind? Like, do I want to do this? And then I don't even want to play paddle. And then like in the morning, I'm just like, all right, like let's go. Like this is gonna be fun, right? Like, but in the moment on the match, like I don't. The time kind of escapes you. Like I don't know how long our match against McNerney and Morgan was in Boston, but the first set was like quite long, but didn't feel as long as it was because you're just in it, right? Like the points, some points are like 100, whatever, 100 shot rally, whatever. But like you don't feel, you kind of disassociate, which I think is almost an asset. Like you're disassociating, you're not thinking about it in the moment, but going into the match, going into the day, I would be like, this is going to be a grind. You know, you kind of lose your Saturday, but it's like what you're signing up for, right? Like we're doing the thing, we're grinding, and you know, you're going to be exhausted at the end of the day, no matter what, like win or lose. It's just more exhausting to lose, right? But quite honestly, 90 some percent of people are losing. There's really only, one team on each side, women and men, that actually are winning all their matches, right? So most people are going home a loser and you're kind of signing up for it, right?
Totally. Um, your paddle flipping and twirling is did you do that in tennis? I know you played tennis in college, and I'll mention you are the head rackets adult rackets at Raleigh Run Country Club in Westchester.
Yep.
Um, the flipping, twirling, did that emanate from tennis or did that begin in paddle?
Yeah, I would yeah, like I would flip everything, like ping pong paddle, like I'd be like playing Xbox, like Call of Duty Xbox when I was like 10, just like flipping my remote control. Like, some people say ADHD, but yeah, tennis, I would do the same thing. I would flip and not like in between point like in between points I would twirl, but like in between points like flip, just keep like stimulus going, right? I like paddle because you're just constantly engaged. I really feel like racket sports in general are like people with ADHD kind of gravitate to it because you're just constantly in stimulus. And you'll find a lot of like rackets pros have ADHD or are on the spectrum in some way just because of it just keeps you stimulated. Like, especially paddle, when you're done a point, just say like you've done a point even in like a three-shot rally at lower levels, right? Like the ball is in a cage, you're not chasing the ball, you're giving it to the server, they're serving. There's not a ton of downtime, right? And because of that, it's a little easier to keep focus, right? It's easier to get rhythm, right? The defense is easier than offense, and you're just constantly engaged, which is I think like a big boon for the sport in general, right? It is very slow at the top levels when everyone like can handle everything, but again, you're constantly repositioning, you're constantly getting back to home base, you're constantly deciding shot selection in the moment, and it's like it's very engaging, right?
Totally. What has it ever gotten under the skin of opponents at all, or when they're about to serve and they see that you're spinning when you're ready to return
I
it?
don't know. Like you'd have to ask them. I think people kind of tune stuff like that out when they're competing because it will just get in their head too much. So I think like in general, like distractions off court, I don't think a lot of competitors like worry about that. Like there's, some of these like semis and finals, there's like 50, 60, 70, 80 people around the cage sometimes, and like it never super distracted me. If anything, like it makes you, want to play better points and stuff like that. So I think distractions like that, I don't think people worry about it that much, but that's something you would have to ask other people.
You have such an interesting game, as I've already mentioned, which quite honestly is for a paddle fanatic like me that does watch a lot of film and I don't speed it up, is super entertaining to watch. I mean, I'll watch you and Ethan any day of the week. It's fun to watch, and you're changing pace. You've got a couple signature shots. I don't know if you've named them yet. You dink and you blitz. Have you always played like that, or was that a progression from the time you started playing?
I I've never really watched high level paddle until I was starting to play it. So I didn't really emulate my game after anyone. I just anytime there would be a problem on court that I was losing points or a bad pattern, I would think of like how can I use my assets to like get myself out of that pattern. Like so for the underhand serve, for example, like that's a little unique and other people have done it, but the reason is like I was a year or two into paddle and I was playing like D7 first year, then I played D4 this next year. And the first time I was able to play like against some D1 opponents is when I played Spring League, which is obviously way warmer paddle. And I would just hit my normal tennis serve. And then on like Vlaco Nijek, he's a Waynesboro director. So lefty, like really like legend in our area, right? But he would just like I would serve, I would get like literally one step in the baseline and like the ball would be at my feet already. So I was like, okay, this doesn't work. Like he's timing it so well. Like, and then that next day is like when I was like, okay, like I need to figure out something else. Like I don't have the really big like slice kick serve from tennis. I wasn't like a five-star recruit. So like I just don't have that. I just usually would kick it into people's backhands and serve them volley in tennis. So I was just like, well, how can I do this? Okay, give him low contact. So I just like started doing the dink serve like that day after and like trying it. And I was like, oh, this kind of works. Like I can get in, I can hit a volley. The angle of the drive is more like this versus this. It just kind of worked for me, and I like my pace control in hands. So it just kind of was a way for me to use my assets to like solve a problem. And that's all I would try to do. It's like, how can I hurt my opponent while making ball? How can I defend while using what I have, you know?
I
I
like how you said, yeah, solve a problem there. Like that's been, people that I talk about it with, it's, what you're trying to do is create problems that your opponent can't solve. And the funny
Yeah.
thing is, like when you're first playing, it's, can I make that first volley off my serve? And then now at the level you're at, it's how do we win a point versus Regalado and Salazar because they, get everything back and cover the whole
Yeah.
court. So it's just different levels of problem solving, kind of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all perspective. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love how you said that. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's great. It's a great lesson for club players, for somebody who has amazing racket skills like you, that is like a negative, whatever you are, 16 PTI, and you've got club players in the 30s, 40s, and 50s that, their ego's getting the best of them and they're refusing to, stay back or play Australian or do something different. I think it's a good lesson. I originally saw that serve. Oliver Jones, who I know is in your area, did a video on my paddle.
yeah.
Did he learn it from you or did you learn it from him?
No, we did it independently, and
Okay.
we knew each other a little bit later. And yeah, he would do like a low sidearm, and it was funny. Like after I started using it, like a year later, I saw his like YouTube video that he posted like years ago about it, when he was at Overbrook, and yeah, just funny. And actually, I just came from a cup match with my ladies at my club, and we were playing against Overbrook, and a couple of the ladies had underhand serves. So we talked about how to kind of like defend it because it is a very unique thing, especially for, cup five lady tennis or sorry, paddle. Um, but yeah, it's kind of funny. Like you're definitely seeing it in the league, and the clubs that we go to, like generally more people switch to it. I'm one that like I don't want to just tell people to do things just because I do it. So like if I think it'll be good, I'll mention it, but I don't want like people to like, think they have to do it just because I do it, if that makes sense.
Of
Totally.
course, everyone doesn't have to play like you. Everyone can find their own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of your unpredictability, and I know that obviously listening to you, you're finding your own patterns that are working against your opponent, right? But do you think like did it take Ethan? I'll just use him as an example because I know you guys are playing a lot together now. Did it take him a while to like get used to you're going to slam it, in the opposite corner out of the blue and try and catch the opponent off guard? Like how, you know what I mean? Because it's very easy to for your partner to be in the wrong spot or not know how to what's coming next. How
Yeah.
did that work?
So yeah, like I'll do things based on who I have on my side of the court as well as who's on the other side of the court. So, his assets, like we both volley, here really well. So I know he wants that volatility, so it actually like works out really well. I would still kind of do it with other people, but I kind of had to, um, we would kind of talk about the situation, but like he likes the volatility so much that it's kind of like welcoming. And you know, uh, even if I put something too high and they hit it, whatever, and just say we missed something, it's like, oh, we missed it, not like, oh, like we shouldn't do that, like we kind of like are flexible together and we kind of can cover each other. And we're both kind of transition players, and he drives more than me, and his drives are just premier level. Um, but I think since we're both kind of that transition play, we kind of know what we need and when each other are in danger because we both sometimes lurk in the court. So like I've done that, especially in league night. Like I'll be like service line a lot. So I know like what catches me and what doesn't. So like as his partner, if he's doing that, like I kind of know how to like not getting him in trouble and like we can and vice versa. So like we kind of I don't know how to describe it. Just kind of it felt kind of smooth off the rip with him. We had to talk about some things, but we don't talk about a ton of things on court because it feels like we kind of are just like in sync for a year in, if that makes sense.
It
It
does.
certainly looks that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, do you guys switch it up on back? You guys switch it up in the back court between Ad and Deuce, right? He likes his two-hand backhand. I would assume
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah, we switch it up if we feel like the pattern needs to be changed a little bit. And I've played ad way more. Like I've played ad like 90% of my like paddle like career that I played, whatever. Um, but I do like deuce probably better from the bass court just because of I think it my play style suits it better than me on ad. But because I've played ad a bunch, like yeah, it's no problem switching and like I can dig all day and my offense is a little bit different on ad than it is on deuce. So if we think we, and having his back in the middle is like pretty nice too, right? So we're trying to dabble with that, but again, we've only been what like 6, 7, 8 tournaments in together, so we're gonna do more of that experimenting because the patterns just definitely change and like talking for that middle ball is a little bit different. And our role responsibility is like a little different if me on ad versus him on ad. Um, we don't have enough sample size yet with it, but we're definitely looking to do it more.
Have you played anyone that actually thrives on unpredictability and changing things up like you? I'm curious. I
Played
mean,
against, they
yeah,
they like it.
yeah.
Um, who's really good at
I mean,
oh yeah,
Guillermo.
I mean I'll just say not high, like so in league we had like I had a match against two guys who were like transition players. One guy, Doug Knight, he's like I think he graduated like UVA. He's like 40-ish, but he was like lead goal scorer with lacrosse in the nation. So he's like a crazy athlete and he like dinks and blitzes and like has great hands and he's a really like gritty player. And then he played with another guy, Connor Reinhardt, who is another local guy, and they're both single digits to slightly negative. And he also is even crazier, and he dinks and blitzes all the time. He could be on his back foot in the green and dink a perfect ball like an inch over net. Like his game is hilarious. And he just snaps overheads and he like baits people to drive into him and he just closes with like a forehand volley. So like that match was insane. And we won by like a game, just say in like a third set, like 3 hour match. And it was a little warmer, so a lot of volatility. Like if that was filmed, it would have been like hilarious transition points. Um, but them in particular, they love it. And like whenever we play like a match, it's always like these crazy, insane points where we're just like what is going on this court, like court type of deal. So them in particular, they kind of like thrive under it and like love it because that's their game as well. And I think like when you have play styles like that, all together, the points are just that much more chaotic, right?
Absolutely. What's a shot that maybe to someone watching you play looks reckless, but you like the that feels statistically smart to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the cutter lob for sure, 100%. Because it looks so dumb and it's so dumb sometimes. So typically, whenever I miss it really poorly, it's because I'm on deuce side and getting around it's so weird. So like you don't get a lot of push overheads to like your forehand, so it feels a little forced, and I probably do force it sometimes. In the warmer weather, it's just better, and it's just been so cold this winter that like whenever I do it, like either it's a less effective or it's just like again, me playing deuce, it just feels weird to get around it. But on ad side, you get so many opportunities to do it. So like if I was ad and it was warmer weather, I'd be doing it way more. Um, but that shot for sure. Because like yeah, in high level, if you're missing a shot in like the back wire, like short lob to like service box, you're like, what is this guy doing? And like they're kind of correct. But like if you're not having fun on court, like you're just gonna play bad.
When are you deciding to use that shot? Is there a particular like style of play, a
Well,
certain
Yeah.
point in the match? Like when
and
are
just
you deciding?
it sounds like on the ad side, a soft middle ball is, the opportune time. And
Yeah.
as you're saying in the forehand, you don't really get any of those to your forehand.
Yeah. So I started doing it in summertime when people would go underhand serves, and it was just a way to add the volatility in and get like a down up or something, or get them to hit it out of the cage. And I just thought it was kind of funny and like, and actually like I thought it was like a good shot too, and I still do. But it just to add that extra volatility where, yeah, you're right. If like they slow down the game and they go like that deep push, it's like that deep push you just kind of lob it. It's like if you drive it, it's a little bit of a bait, right? They want you to drive it. So it's like, okay, instead of driving it, let me just hit this cut lob where they have to think about a decision. Like, and the whole goal of a paddle is like making people think about a decision in the moment and they have to decide something and maybe their decision's wrong and you can capitalize. So like it just gives another problem for the opponent to have to decide what do I do with this ball? Like, do I let it bounce? Do I take it out of the air? Oh, wait, like I fed a forehand, bang, right? Like they just have to make a decision and it just gives them a new problem to kind of solve. As long as you're like making the ball, obviously. Like, and then, I mean, sometimes you're going to look like an idiot. Like, there's sometimes I look like such an idiot on court. Like, it is what it is. You just have to laugh at yourself and kind of move on, you know?
How come do you ever serve with it?
Yeah, I've hit many aces and so occasionally in like an earlier round, I'll do it in warmer weather. I'll do it at national level in tournaments, and I've done it a couple times in national level, and it's worked. And then in league play, I would do it if just say like my partner's having a hard time with like the return of serve, because yeah, if I'm playing and I'm playing with like you know a high team PTI player who like, they have a hard job because they're just getting ripped at. Like they're literally just getting ripped at like because the opponent wants the points. So sometimes like maybe I'll throw it in if like that first volley is very challenging and we're losing net anyway. So it's like, oh, if we're gonna lose net anyway, why not just try to ace this guy and lose net anyway, you know? As long as you're making the serve and you're losing net, it's like
What's
you
the
stay
difference?
back or you try to ace the person and you stay back. It's like at least you have a chance to ace the person, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, Cammy mentioned she doesn't like, your normal serve when she's at net and you guys are
Yeah,
playing mixed. Um,
it's true.
who are some of the players you've learned from to get to where you are and what do they teach you?
One thing, because again, I didn't really watch that much film until I started like playing these guys in like first rounds, right, of like tournaments. Um, but I played or I saw like I saw McNerney on film and his game. I really like his game, obviously, like a lot of people do. And he's just like very calm. But the thing he would do is like he would blitz on lobs, and I would always blitz on lobs like before I saw him do that. But the way he does it, I kind of started doing myself, where he kind of just like defends his side. He didn't really like move to the middle that much. He kind of just played it as like a pressure and like I did take that a little bit when I started doing it in general. So like just different mechanics that I think that I can start to do and like take and um like from different types of players that because again McNair's like very smart like kind of a transition player doesn't really hit off the deck that much and like that's kind of me as well like obviously we have very different games but like he likes that hard side back. I've always hit that hard side back. I think it's like a really good shot, especially in like the warmer weather when it gets really good volatility. Um, so uh it just kind of like I usually had these types of shots or moves or plays, but it just like how other people mitigate risk when they do this, I kind of took. So he does a good way of like mitigating risk when he does go for a blitz where there's safety nets in play. He doesn't all in commit on a blitz. He kind of shows pressure. He defends his side. He goes back if needed. Um, I took that like years ago, and I just like just ways to rethink about certain plays and shots.
100%. And as you know, as a teaching pro, I'm sure you know that paddle's a game that is kind of has to be taught to you. It's hard to just kind of pick it up on your own. So, and feel free to give shout outs here. But who are some of the people that kind of first started on the court with that helped your progression along from just a beginner to intermediate and advanced player?
Yeah,
And when did you start playing? In your after college, or were you playing as a youngster? Or?
yeah. After school, I knew I would enjoy this sport, but I just didn't have time to like come back on weekends and like play it. But 2017 is when I started that season, and I would play at Picket Post, which is my first club, which is more of a rackets club, and it was like a cheaper membership. Um, and I would like kind of freelance teach there and help team practices with one of my friends. And I there was there was one summer specifically, like maybe 2 or 3 years in, where I played like once, maybe twice a week. And it was just like such a warm environment where like everything's accelerated, right? Like everything's accelerated in general. Reaching for a volley is that much worse, right? Risk reward wise, everything was just changed. The feel's obviously off. And if you can volley a ball coming at you like 90, 100 miles per hour in the warm weather, like you can really do it in the winter. So like I had like Johan Hochstead, like Leo Gubler, and like Jimmy Yen would like put together a crew of like single digit to like 20 PTI, and we would all like have a community that we just like kind of grinded each week. And that play session every week consistently like really helped me like lose fear at net because a lot of times you naturally would like take a step back every single time. Like it's just natural human reaction, but you just like drill yourself out of it. As long as you're going against people that like drive hard but low and you can trust them and they don't go high that much, you just get innately used to that muscle memory of staying. And then once you get that muscle memory of staying for like volleys that are coming hard, then you get used to like letting balls go out that are like by your head. But if you
Hmm.
start with people like going at your head, you're not used to it. You might start reaching or like fearing away, right? So like I think like going against someone that like is really under control that can rip the ball in good slots above the net, like really helps you lose fear at net, which is just like, I mean, volleying is like probably the most important thing in paddle at all levels, right?
Yeah.
And I think that play session like really helped me.
Help you develop the right habits. I think too, like as far as I'm concerned, the best way to get better is to be the worst player on the court. And like when you first start playing, that's probably going to be the case, and it's probably hard for you to find a game like that now. But even more so than drilling, just playing with players that pose problems for you that you can't solve or questions you can't answer on the court, and you have to kind of adapt on the court there to get better. So I think that's a good lesson for anyone, right? That you just kind of started in a summer pickup league with a wide range of PTIs, and that's how you develop some of your best habits at the net. And have learned to volley so well.
Yeah, like what you said, like be the worst person on the court. Yeah, really good, but also like be the worst person, know you're the worst person, and then like survive on the court. Like
Yeah,
literally do not pull the trigger, survive, don't hit balls off balance because like there's a difference between being the worst player and just like playing your normal game, but like knowing like completely lose the ego. Like I've seen people in like 20 PTIs like just in 1 year go way down just because they're just like, I'm just gonna grind here and like you can do whatever you want, and I'm just gonna pick my perfect time to pull offense. And if you're the worst person on the court and you're getting all the balls, you're gonna have some premier options to go offense. So just don't pick a bad time to go offensive, and you'll just get so many good reps, right?
there'll always be a better drive.
Always.
Um, Obviously, Regalado and Salazar would be part of this answer, but who have been your toughest opponents, individually or team wise, that you've played against so far?
I mean, anyone I can, anyone that we just haven't won a set against, like I mean, T Tin and Tom, we're just like literally just like there and like, just haven't finished those points to win the set. Felt the momentum, like, and I mean McNerney, Morgan, like either set point or really close to set point. We just can't get out of these sets against some of these guys for now. But and that's just kind of like a mental thing, just being in the moment, living in the moment, just like getting out of those sets. I think it's gonna like break open a dam for us. Um, but I'd say, yeah, anyone like that, just getting over the mental block of like actually finishing what we started, being up all set and then just like finishing the set. Um,
You can't run the
yeah,
clock out in platform tennis,
yeah,
unlike
no.
other sports.
Gotta keep your foot on the accelerator in the right ways. That's what's challenging about the sport, right? That's why we love it.
So you've had somewhat of a meteoric rise. I mean, you started out as a 30 PTI, and again, what are you negative 14, negative 16? I don't even. Maybe you're a guy that doesn't even care
Something
to
like
follow it.
something
Yeah,
like that.
something like that. When was there a match where you're like, okay, I can play in a very high level and play against, Regalado and Salazar and McNerney Morgan. What was there a particular match or moment?
Just when I started going against some of these like like top five teams back, when I started doing national tournaments, like when my weird game would like kind of affect them, and I would still lose like literally 2-0, but it would be like a 2 hour match, for example, like played Fraser Morgan 1 year with JC, back-to-back tournaments, first round. And the first one was like, all right, like I saw film on the way up, like on an airplane, I downloaded it, and like that was the first time I actually like watched film. And I was like, all right, like I see these patterns, they're gonna grind me on ad, okay, I'm just gonna go all day. And I could just go all day against them. I couldn't, offensively crack them that much, but they couldn't really crack me on baseline. So I was like, oh, well, like I can go all day here. I just have to figure out like kind of ways to hurt people more when I'm on baseline. But I'm definitely like the patterns didn't feel like that bad to me, and that I didn't have like a ton of experience. But again, like we could be up like 3-love and then lose the next 12 games straight, and that literally happened, right? We like lost like 3-0, and like it just feels like they just do so many things better than you, obviously, in the moment of like seizing momentum and then scoreboard pressure and all those things, and they just lock down mode and they just decide not to drive a ball or miss, and they get the rhythm back. So learned a lot from them just competing against them. But I would say that match in particular, I was like, oh, like I'm on court with 2 hours with these guys. Like, yeah, I lost like straights easily, but like I can survive at least. Let's like figure out ways to like hurt people too, you know?
Totally. Um, what was the other question? I just had it in my head. Oh, I got one more question, and then we're gonna do a rapid fire segment. Luke fires that off. The no ad scoring change. What are
I was just gonna ask him this. I'm very interested to hear his thoughts on this.
for,
What about
against?
no ad? Yeah, what do you think, Matt? Of the
Yeah, I thought I would hate it at first. I was like, oh, I wish they just went like one ad and then went to no ad,
yeah,
like just give one chance. Because, if you're up 40 love and, you tie it up, it's like, okay, sudden death. But I actually really like it. Not just the fact of like the time is a little easier to manage as like a tournament director. I'm sure tournament directors really love it. Um, I like the mental component that it offers, right? Like we talked about patterns. On Deuce Point, you can just be like, okay, who's like who has the more clutch DNA? Like, are you gonna just randomly do something a little risky but still in the risk profile? Are you gonna change up a pattern that like you didn't do in the first like whatever points of that game or even set? Or are you gonna like just lob and go all day? Like everyone has their own unique way of doing it, and I think that's why like it's fun because paddle's all about like different play styles, and like you might have a different solution to let that no ad versus going like risk free or going like a little risky and just playing with confidence. Like both are kind of right answers, right? So it's like what type of team, and I think you can tell like what team is going to do what based on like their play style, right? So it's kind of like a matchup thing, right?
yeah. I think too, it even changes how the whole game is played. For instance, like if you're receiving serve and you're up 540 in the game, and you're that deuce player, it's like, hey, I am most likely getting two swings at this if they choose you for the sudden death. So it's like you kind of
Yeah.
almost like a love 40 serve or a love 40 return where you're just swinging out of your shoes. You can almost, I know I'm going to get another chance at this, so why not take a swing here?
Yeah.
One more question. So the Regalado Salazar Aronimink match that I was watching courtside. It was, I mean, some of the points were
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. I mean, all you guys, all four on the court have uber athleticism and can pretty much get to anything. Tough match, I know. Looking back, what would you have done differently?
Just call that deep ball out at set point and move on to the next set. I'd probably do that first.
Right?
Quick fix.
And then second thing would be uh I don't know, managing your adrenaline dumps. Like it's just hard when you lose like a really crucial set. I'm still working on it. Is like lose your crucial set, like you're there all day, like you're ahead especially, then you just like let it slip away. It's like that mental reset's just like so hard in general And then also if you're going against a team that like doesn't give much away as is, it's just like extra hard. The crowd actually got us back in that match because honestly, the way like we were playing after that with our adrenaline dump, like I feel like we should have lost like 6-2, and it was more competitive than that score wise, just because I think the crowd got us back a little bit. But yeah, like I tend to, yeah, I don't know. I tend to play a lot of like super close balls that I could probably call out, but it just I don't know. I didn't want to put the umpire in that situation because he was like a local guy, and yeah, if I'm not like 1,000% sure, I'm just gonna like play the ball. But in terms of pattern wise, I thought we like played pretty well, and it's not like their level was bad either. Like I think they played well for themselves too, and it was just like a really gritty match that was it was fun to be in the moment for. A lot of winning shots that just like come back, but both teams are ready for them to come back, right? Like off the paddle, you're like that's good, but like everyone's getting in position for that ball to come back, even if you think there's like a very little chance it's gonna get back, and that's paddle, right? Like just always thinking that point's never finished, right?
Totally. All right, Luke.
especially
Sorry.
Regalado.
Yeah.
This is true.
You want to take us out, Luke?
Yeah, so I was going to ask a few questions down the line here and just give a brief answer. So, but I'll start with what paddle are you playing with right now?
The M1 Masters. Always. I've always
Love it.
played with it.
Yep. And what type of shoes are you wearing?
Rafa cages.
Love it. And how many do you go through a season?
Like 6 or 7.
Yeah, outrageous. This what this sport does to us.
Yep.
Uh, and then your favorite hut that you've played at, it can be a local one, can be a tournament you like going to, but just the favorite hut setting that you've been to.
Um, I don't know, like hut setting, maybe Aronimink just because like one PA state's there. Um, and that was just like a really nice like local tournament that we have a lot of pride with.
Love it. And then a tournament that you want to win, that's the highest on your list right now. And I would not include nationals, since that moves around every year, but just a
Okay.
tournament to win.
I'll go with like a Aronimink Open, right? It's Philly.
Yeah, the local crowd.
Yeah.
Who are your favorite pros to watch on the men's and women's side?
Um, the women's Cami Townsend.
Smart guy, Matt.
Yeah, and the guy side, I like whose game do I like the most? Uh, well, I like competing against uh I would say I mean Guillermo and Mark have been, doing a good job of just like using spin in the cold weather. So like that's kind of nice that they're able to like kind of speed up opponents. And I kind of enjoy going against that. So I'm looking forward to that matchup if we get it, just because it would just be like fun paddle.
Yeah, no, they're both so fun to watch and such a good team. A paddle pet peeve of yours on the court. So maybe someone that doesn't hit you lobs in warmups, doesn't call the score out, before points. That's something that just kind of irks you on the court.
They're gonna use this against me. No.
Yeah.
They're gonna start doing it every single match now. Pet peeve. Uh I don't have a ton. I don't know. I don't really things
You're
don't
focused on
super
yourself.
get to me that much. I don't know. Things don't really super get to me that much on court that my opponents do, really.
I love it. You're locked in and focused on yourself. That's a good thing.
Yeah, like some people like get upset like people going high, like missing a drive high. Like I welcome that because like then I win the points. And if I
Yeah.
get hit, like it is what it is. Like I kind of I should see it going, like stuff like that doesn't like super bother me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've got a racket to protect myself out there. And then cutter or roller. What do you prefer to hit? What do you think is more effective on your? I know you said you don't have the best cut spin, but what do you like to hit?
Yeah, like my favorite, I don't know, like waterfall or hard side back is my favorite. I think it's the most effective because you're like
Yeah,
it's a very high margin shot that you're just like hitting in a specific spot of the court and like yeah.
yeah, definitely it's a good outlet. One rule you would change.
Um I don't really, I don't know. I'm not caught up on all the rules. I just kind of do what I'm told with the rules, honestly. Um, I would say. So like we were caught a couple times with like me and Ethan like grinding like our second round or something, and then we would have like an hour, like they give us like an hour time, but sometimes like going to the club and like eating lunch, like by the time you're done, like we're already like late for the quarters. Like we got like dinged for warm up the one time. Like I would say like just giving us more time if like someone like finishes like a really long 3 set match, you know? Because there's
Yeah,
some like second rounds that are like really long, but like, especially if you're that like eighth, ninth, 10th seed versus like one versus whatever, right? Like you're just gonna have a longer match naturally. So
yeah,
like probably just like more time to like, either like take a shower before or like, decompress before you're back on court competing.
yeah. I like that. And then finally, dream pairing, for a tournament to play. It could be a past player, present player, but someone you think you would play really well with that you haven't played with.
That I haven't played with. Uh I don't actually know. Deuce add. I think like playing with like I don't know like Frazier would be cool. I mean he hasn't played like a ton this year I think, but I always liked his game.
Yeah, me too. He's a legend. Sean, anything else you kind of want to wrap up with here, or
No, Matt, greatly appreciate it. I think I told you both Luke and I played team nationals the same time that you did at Canoe Brook, and we were drinking beers and we saw you running around and we're like, who is this guy? And then 2 years later, you're one of the best teams on the tour. So it's been our pleasure and would love to have you on again. Maybe you and Ethan after you win your first tournament.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, thank you for having me.
All right. We'll see
thanks,
you.
Matt?